are these people?
The CDC certainly has been. Um, so apparently the CDC team that's been sent to East Palestine is getting sick from testing in East Palestine. Is that correct?
East Palestine, but yes.
East Palestine, got it. Um, okay. So we have this by Common Dreams at Julia Connolly. CDC officers become sick while assessing contamination in East Palestine. Which one? Palestine.
East Palestine, yeah.
The reports add confirmation that the symptoms reported by East Palestine residents are real and are associated with environmental exposures from the derailment and chemical fire, said one scientist. Reports that several investigators from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention became ill earlier this month when they visited East Palestine, Ohio, offered the latest evidence on Friday that the air and water in the town is less safe than state officials and rail company Norfolk Southern have claimed, following the company's train derailment in February. As CNN reported, 7 physicians and officers from the CDC's Epidemic Intelligence Service traveled to East Palestine in early March, a month after a train carrying toxic chemicals, including vinyl chloride, derailed there. Anything to say on that?
I mean, my comment is I think we're going to keep seeing more and more of this happen.
Yes.
And I hope that people are as brave to come forward, because I know it's not something that, you know, people put their jobs on the line to come forward with that kind of information. We've heard of people, you know, who have quit the cleanup crews because of their own, you know, moral compass and what's happening, and how they're feeling, and, you know, what they're being told to tell, you know, people that it's safe. They really know that it's not. So I think that's going to be a trend that continues to come forward, and it sucks that people are sick. And it really sucks that we have to prove that people are really sick without the resources to do it.
Mm-hmm.
By having other people come in from outside, feel the same way, but we can't believe the people that live there. It's and then the people that live there want to get care, and they're just getting turned away, or refused specific care. We have one children's hospital. It's close to where I live, and like we have kids with like bloody noses, you know, blood coming out of their ears, rashes, digestive issues, and we're just gonna let them suffer because somebody's gonna lose some money if we diagnose people properly. Or, you know, it's crazy. You can think people are conspiracy theorists all you want, but if you take a step back and start putting the pieces together, there's a clear coincidence of lack of accountability, profit over people. You can see it there. It's woven.
Alex, you mentioned Professor Andrew Welton earlier, who has conducted independent studies in East Palestine since the derailment, said on social media this week that he submitted a Freedom of Information Act request to the CDC, asking for documents regarding the investigators' illnesses. He also continues your point, Jenna. I think it's important for not only government officials to communicate with each other, but also to communicate their experiences with the public so that everybody can understand what's going on and how help needs to be brought to East Palestine and the surrounding areas. Have you guys received any pushback from trying to communicate this kind of stuff? By chance?
You mean in terms of people in town?
Or the scientists specifically, like Welton, are they trying to stop them from getting information and putting information out?
I mean, the government is obviously being intentionally opaque about everything. They have been since the very start. I think a lot more of it than what I was originally inclined to suspect actually is due to incompetence. I thought my original suspicion was that it was just entirely due to corruption and maliciousness, but I think that actually there is a lot to be said about the level of just straight up incompetence of the people in the EPA. The director of the EPA is a lawyer, not a scientist. I mean, I think that should tell you something about what we're talking about in terms of the level of scientific competency of people who are supposed to be the protectors of the environment from corporate control, and are instead acting as guard dogs to protect corporate or protectors of guard dogs from the environment from corporate pollution, and are instead protecting the corporations from the ramifications of their pollution. And it is one of those things where everyone is being impacted by this in a way that hurts them, and yet the machinations of our current industrialist society has just created an inability for any of the things that need to get done to be done. Case in point, CDC has been through its own guidelines, preventing people from getting diagnosed, and the people they sent in, the workers, all got sick. Half of them got sick.
Right.
And the same with the Norfolk Southern, they have all this pollution. They decide to finally clean it up, and they send in workers with no PPE, no hazmat material, no idea what they're even cleaning up because they haven't done those tests. And it's so indicative of the problem, which is, it's easy to view this, and I think very tempting to view this through the lens of it's the working class being targeted by these people in control of the corporate, industrial, political machine. And to an extent, that's true, but these chemicals went over the entire Northeast. We're seeing people reporting the same sorts of thing in Ontario, Canada, as are reported in and around the East Palestine train derailment from being exposed to toxic plume. That plume went over the heads of millionaires. There are billionaires who definitely breathed in those toxins.
Right.
So this is less an issue of the working class being exploited, although yes, and victimized, although yes, of the capitalist class, but it's so much more, and so much more deeply just pure stupidity, the entire system, not so much being corrupt, although yes, it is very much corrupt, but just being run by people who legitimately have no idea what they're doing, so that all of the intelligent people like Professor Welton and his colleagues and many others like him, who do have the capacity and knowledge and information necessary to actually see the problem and do the tests necessary to find the problem and find out what the solution will be, or to formulate a solution, aren't even allowed into the levers of being able to do that, because the system is so corrupt and is so ineptly run that the people who make decisions have no idea why are so ignorant of the scope and full necessity of the powers they've been bestowed with, or how to use them, because their only goal is just getting however many impressive letters after their name as they possibly can to increase their paycheck, so much that the head of the EPA is a lawyer, not a scientist. In fact, I would be interested to find out how far down the chain of command you would have to go to find a scientist.
Mhm.
It's the same thing with the United States government. The head of the Secretary of Transportation is a former mayor of a small town with zero experience in transportation.
Right.
Yeah.
Why is our society being run so terribly that all of the highest and most powerful positions that we have for making our society run are held by people with no idea what they're doing?
Yep.
I think that's $1 million question right there. I think we've basically asked that every week.
Yeah.
Well,
Anything
it's
else,
because it's
Avery?
become so corrupt, and it's become in such service to itself, and it no longer even the idea of a meritocracy was once kind of an ideal in European industrialized society, that's gone now. There's no longer even a semblance of meritocracy. There's no longer a question of what can you actually accomplish. It's all just become this gigantic cronyist, nepotistic, capitalistic circle jerk. And the only way that we can do something about that is by coming together with very clear-eyed sense of what the actual problem is and addressing the actual problem in a very common sense way, regardless, without any sort of, it doesn't matter what anyone's particular philosophical, political, or social ideology is. If we can just agree that clean air, clean water, and clean soil are necessities for life, then we can come together, I think, to fix at least this issue, which is why we're holding the summit on the 15th, which we very much hope we can get as many people to come to as possible. We're hoping to get some big names. If anybody's watching this with a larger platform, let us onto your show, or maybe even consider coming on. I'm looking for speakers for the event. We've got March for Medicare for All People, their team. Savage Joy is going to be coming to speak for this event. We've reached out to some other people. Not going to say who they are, but hopefully we can get some big names, and hopefully we can come together around this. This is not left, right. I think that's a nonsense notion anyways, but this doesn't matter where you fall on any political spectrum or ideology. If you think that clean air, clean water, and clean soil are necessary for human life and that we need to have those things and are willing to look objectively at the fact that right now we don't, then we can come together and figure out how to fix it.
Well, we have your links to your donor box in the description as well, as people can scan the QR code if they're, if they're inclined to do that. But please tell all the people where they can find both of you, and where they can find the organization as well, if you don't mind.
Sure. We are on Facebook. It's United for East Palestine, but across every other platform, we are United for EP. So Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, you can find us there.
Okay. Kipper, anything to add?
Just one more question. Just how can we continue to support your organization and then by extension the residents of East Palestine? So people who are kind of feeling like hearing all of this and like, I don't know what to do, how ways that people can support you.
Help us get onto other platforms. The more platforms we can get on, the more people we can put the message out to, the better. Share the summit, reach out to people if you know anybody who runs an organization. We're trying to spread the net as wide as possible. Whatever organization we can who wants to, form a coalition on this, on just getting clean air, clean water, and clean soil, and actually addressing the problem, we can partner together. So yes, get us in front of people, shout us out, tag us in people if you know somebody who you think would be interested in partnering. And also you can go to the donor box, which we have, United for East Palestine donor box. I don't know if you have it up, but it's on our Twitter at United for East Palestine, at United for EP. You can donate to our independent science fund. All the money for that we're raising is just so we can help pay for testing and science, so that we can see what the real problem is, so that we can actually address it.
Perfect. I think that's it. I think we did you guys did a stream with Tara Reid as well on the network that people could go and check out. That was fairly recent. If people want to go back and find that on the channel, we'll link that in the description below after this as well. So
we've been on Jimmy Dore, Sabby Sabs had us on. We were on RBN a couple of days ago.
Perfect.
Do Dissonance as well, I believe, right?
Yeah.
What was that?
Do Dissonance, I think you've been
Do
to
Dissonance,
as well.
yeah. They were the first kind of YouTube podcast to have us on. It'd be great if we could, get into the ear of somebody like, I don't know, like a Nina Turner or Brianna Joy Gray or Professor Wolf or Colonel West, or some of these people who have, larger platforms. Because as much very grateful to y'all for consistently having us on. We need to get if we can get in front of a larger audience, I think that we can really put
oh no, we
something
get
together
it.
that
Like,
can actually make a difference.
Yeah,
we're with you.